Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session that was created for a client that would have ruminating thoughts, intrusive thoughts about potential problems and consequences relating to his business, his life. And unfortunately, they would happen at the exact time that he really wanted to have good quality sleep. So in this particular hypnosis session, what you're going to hear is a combination of techniques. One is a form of parts therapy where we're empowering a part to filter out and screen out those things that aren't important at that particular point in time. So if you think about, a parent of a newborn child can sleep and then instantly wake up if they hear their child crying, for example. That's because there's a part that is kind of on alert to let them know when something's important and that they need to be ready. But you can have the opposite of that. You can have a part that filters out things that just aren't important, enabling more time of quality sleep. You're also going to hear some elements of acceptance and commitment therapy where, there is a premise sometimes, a false belief that sometimes people have that if they have a thought, then somehow they have to deal with it. They have to think about it in that particular moment. So you'll hear an analogy in this hypnosis session that relates it to a different area of this client's life where he didn't feel a need to respond in that moment. So just because his phone rings doesn't mean you have to answer it. Just because you receive an email doesn't mean you have to respond. And just because you have a thought doesn't mean you have to give it any attention at that point in time. You can do the equivalent of just letting it ring and ignoring it, if that makes sense. And there's a metaphor that is the leaves on a stream kind of metaphor that the thought can be there and you can just let it float away. So there's lots of things going on here, but the objective of this hypnosis session is to provide an approach that helps this client, who was a busy person, had genuine risks attached and consequences to future events. And therefore, those thoughts needed to be thought about, but they didn't necessarily need to be thought about at the point where he's trying to sleep. I think anyone that lives busy lives or tends to have trouble sleeping as a result of worrying about future events will benefit from this hypnosis session. However, it was created for someone else. So if you're listening to this and you think, well, it's good, but it doesn't quite fit your individual circumstances, that's really the purpose of one-to-one therapy, is to work with you and your specific needs. So in the show notes that you can look at just by clicking details, you can see a link to book a free 30-minute consultation call with me to explore what it would be like to work with me directly. But for now, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Perhaps even a bed. You could listen to this right before you go to sleep. And again, because this is a sleep-themed hypnotherapy, there is no outro on this. It just kind of fades into more relaxing music. So you could just listen to this and drift off into sleep. So relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just get a sense that tension, stress, worries are leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that with your eyes closed, you're able to give more of your focused attention to the sound of my voice. Words turning into meanings, meanings turning into new opportunities for changes. Changes to have more of what you want and less of what you don't. I want you to use the power of your imagination to picture a color that best represents a feeling of relaxation for you. Maybe a glowing light blue, maybe a yellow, or maybe just bright white energy. I want you to imagine as you're breathing in and breathing out that you're breathing in this color that represents resourceful relaxation to you. Feel a warmth to the color. So that glowing color that goes in through your nose, down your windpipe into your lungs, starts to give you a sensation of feeling more resourceful, but definitely more relaxed. And as you exhale, just get a sense that in your outward breath, it seems to look darker, grayer, and that represents any tension, any stress, any anxieties that are incrementally and gradually leaving your body in your outward breath, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed just by breathing in and breathing out. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine that you're on a bed, the most comfortable bed that you can imagine. And I want you to imagine that this bed exists in a room, which exists in a house, that represents safety, security, but also what would represent aspirations for you. You could imagine being in a bed in a room in a castle or a palace, in a mansion, or perhaps on a villa by the side of a beach. Allow your imagination to imagine what that bed looks like. The color of the sheets. Is it made of wood, marble, iron? You decide. Notice how soft the bed looks, how firm the pillows are. And I want you to imagine you're in that room and you start to lie on that bed, feeling your head sinking into the pillow, having your arms relaxed by your side, positioning your legs in whichever position enables them to feel even more comfortably relaxed. As you continue to breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation in exactly that color that represents relaxation for you, breathing in and breathing out, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. I want you to imagine that as I count from 10 to 1, any feelings of tension, stress will just leave your body as you feel deeper and deeper relaxed there on that bed. 10, eyelids getting heavier and heavier, letting go of any tension around your eyes. And 9, focusing on the muscles around your forehead, your temple, even around your ears. Just become aware of any tension. Breathe in that vibrant, significant color that represents relaxation. And as you exhale, release that tension and then see it leave your body in that outward breath. 8, focusing on the muscles of your jaw, around your nostrils. If your lips or teeth are touching, that's a sign that there's still tension in your jaw that you can release now. 7, feeling that relaxation going down your neck, the back of your head, releasing that tension, feeling it leave your body in your outward breath. And then 6, feeling any clues of tension in your neck and your shoulders, imagining them as crystals of ice locked into your muscles. And then just imagine that tension is melting away, slowly but surely, like ice under the sun. Imagine it melting away, and then feel that tension leave your body in your outward breath. As 5, you feel your arms, your fingers get heavier, just limp and loose. If someone was to pick them up, they would flop all the way back down. 4, your internal organs start to relax. Your lungs relax. Your stomach relax. Your diaphragm relaxes. All your internal organs relax, enabling you to take deeper and deeper breaths and feeling that bright color going into your lungs and then leaving as a darker color, showing you that the tension, the anxiety is leaving your body. And then 3, going into your gut, your intestines, the bank account of anxiety. I want you to imagine that your gut is almost like a second brain, a source of intuition. And how does it do it? Not through inner dialogue, because you hear that in your head. In your gut, it's a feeling. Tiny muscle contractions that give you a sense when something's right and something's wrong. But that's not needed here in this place. So just allow all the muscles to release any tension, enabling you right there in your gut to let go. And then 2, feeling that relaxation spread all the way down into your legs. Legs feeling limp, loose, heavy, totally relaxed. Don't need to support any weight at all. And then 1 all the way into your toes. And even if you can imagine what it would be like to have tense toes, just release that tension now. And then imagine what it would be like to fall asleep there on that bed in that wonderful place where you're safe, secure, and protected. And I want you to imagine that there is a confident part of your subconscious mind at the door of the room that enters the bedroom. This is your gatekeeper. I want your subconscious mind to find the part most equipped to protect and provide you with quality sleep. I want you to imagine this is almost like the role of a PA, except that rather than you being distracted at your desk, imagine that the role of this part of you is to protect you from being interrupted while you sleep, ensuring you have good quality, uninterrupted sleep. This part will interact with all of the parts that might be trying to keep you safe, trying to preempt issues and problems from the future. But those parts don't get to go straight to you. They go to this gatekeeper standing at the closed door in front of this room. They can present problems and issues, but this gatekeeper part will say that you are not to be disturbed. They will bounce the idea back to them and say, come back in the morning, or perhaps in the mid-morning, not just with the problem, but with the potential solution. And then you know that while your conscious mind is sleeping, parts of your unconscious mind are busy identifying and potentially solving problems, looking for opportunities. Only the most severe emergencies will be justification for that gatekeeper to open the door and feel it's warranted to wake you up. But these things will be 1 in 1,000. The majority of things, you can't deal with them while you sleep anyway. The conscious mind needs deep, good quality sleep, enabling you to feel rejuvenated, refreshed, with mental clarity. And we don't know if it's one or many parts that interrupt the quality of your sleep and give you ruminating thoughts, but what we do know is that they're trying to do something positive. They're trying to warn you of pitfalls on the road ahead, a storm on the horizon. But rarely will be these issues imminent. So your gatekeeper will protect you and keep you safe. And I want you to imagine what your gatekeeper looks like. Maybe it looks like Gandalf on a bridge saying, "You shall not pass." Maybe it looks like a guard protecting a doorway. Maybe it looks like someone caring and concerned, but under no circumstances will let anyone disturb you unless it's vitally important. I want your unconscious mind to entrust this protection to that part. They're significant, they're important. They become the equivalent of a PA to filter out anything that is not of vital importance. I want you to get a sense that this part is eager to show you what they can do. So that even the ideas that come back, perhaps the following day, are a problem that comes with a potential solution, or are problems that you have the actual ability to influence, to make decisions on, and are within the realms of your control. It would be useless if these things and problems are presented to you if there's nothing you can do about them anyway. And this gatekeeper will screen these problems out. So you will still get problems and thoughts, but they will be of a high caliber. Problems that you can actually solve. Issues in the future that you can actually build contingencies for. Things that you can make new decisions on to take a different trajectory if you need to. And then imagine that you're dreaming on that bed with that quality sleep. And I want you to imagine that you're drifting off to a beautiful meadow under blue skies with an amazing stream, a picturesque stream under a large oak tree. I want you to get a sense that every leaf on this tree represents all possible thoughts. And on this huge oak tree, close to the stream, that could be millions of thoughts. But not all the thoughts are going to fall off the tree simultaneously. Every now and then, if there's a gust of wind, the odd leaf will float from the tree down onto the stream. And I want you to get a sense that any leaf that lands on the stream will just be carried by the current and will go away. There is no requirement for you to dwell on any thought. if thoughts are able to get past your gatekeeper and suddenly pop in your head, you will create an image of this very stream and just imagine seeing a solitary leaf touch the surface of the stream and be rapidly carried downstream. And you don't have to do anything except accept that thoughts will come and thoughts will go, and no thought will stay forever. All stress, all anxiety is temporary. It doesn't last very long. Just like waves on a beach, imagine you're on a beach looking at the waves. You can see a wave, even a big wave, crash and then dissipate and then it's gone. And even if new waves come, you can just observe them. And you can give some thought to those waves. And you can give some thought to some of those leaves that land on your stream. But only if you choose to. You don't have to. And as you imagine waves crashing on a beach and leaves falling on a stream, you accept that they're all temporary. Waves will come and go. Leaves will fall and be carried away. And there's nothing you need to do about them. You can just observe them. And if these leaves fall on the stream while you're sleeping, observe the leaf, see it float away, and it's a minor blip in that quality sleep. Because when people sleep, they have random thoughts. They have dreams sometimes, and yet the dreams are necessary for that deep quality sleep. I want you to get a sense that it doesn't matter if it's this gatekeeper from avoiding thoughts and worries to pop into your head when you don't need them to, or whether it's just that you accept that thoughts can come and thoughts can go. It doesn't matter, because the end result is that you get to feel relaxed more of the time. You get to use your thinking for things worth thinking about. A new strategy. Genuine issues that you can control the variables. Thinking is useful, but it's even better when it's scheduled. And perhaps you can have a notebook by your bed, so if a thought does pop into your head that seems important, the moment you write it down, you've released yourself from needing to think about that thought, and you can revisit that thought on your terms at a time relevant for you. You're breathing in and breathing out, still there on that luxurious bed, perhaps in a palace or a villa or a castle. And then imagine it's the following morning. You're starting to wake up. And I want your initial thoughts not to be focused on problems, but on all those things that you're grateful for. On every single day, there are people that go to sleep that won't wake up the following day. So the moment that your eyes open and you take a deep breath in, there's at least one thing to be grateful for. There's another day. And while there's another day, you get to choose how you spend that day, how you spend your time, and how you spend your thoughts. And as you access those feelings of what are you happy about and what can you do to steer the day in the direction you want to take it, you feel more energetic, optimistic, empowered, knowing there's problems that maybe need to be solved or looked at, but you'll do that when you're ready. In life, we don't have to respond or read an email just because we receive it. We don't have to answer a phone just because it rings. And equally, you don't have to think about a thought just because it pops into your head. Sometimes you can leave the message unread, allow the phone to ring without answering, allow a thought to pop into your head without needing to think any more of it. And now it's time to leave this bed and return to the present. You return to the present, feeling resourceful, feeling empowered. And if your unconscious mind wants to awaken, I will count from 1 to 10. But if at the point where you're listening to this, you'd prefer to drift off into a deep sleep, your unconscious mind will ignore the suggestion to wake up. And indeed, at the point I count from 1 to 10, you will just drift into an even deeper, deep sleep. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.